your microphones, so raise your hand. It's right here in front. Start.
Matt, just obviously the turnovers and what Marquette did to help create those, just what disappointed you the most maybe about how you guys reacted to that, or how much of it is just that's how tough they are defensively?
Yeah, you have to give them credit. I thought they were great at swarming the basketball, and anytime it got loose, they did a much better job of getting to those 50-50 balls, and they have good team quickness, they have experience, they have guys that are adjusting a little bit to their roles, but they played in the same system, so it's fine. But I just thought they were the tougher team. And anytime you're going to be quicker to the basketball like they were when the ball got loose, we had to make some shots tonight, but at the end of the day, they didn't turn the ball over and we did, and that's probably the difference. But it got pushed out to 20 or whatever it did at the end. But I thought their ability to play the game without turning it over, and give them credit, because I thought they had a big hand. We had 3 turnovers the other night against Alabama. It was pretty salty. But you're doing it in your own arena, and you're doing it with your fans, and it's different when you go on the road. You got to have a little bit more mental toughness, and we didn't show that.
Did Gold making those early threes change the way you were able to defend Jones off ball screens?
No, not at all. No. Yeah, we were going to live with some of that. He's shooting 20% from 3, he shot 35% last year, but Cam didn't really get there as much throughout the course of the game until the end, and then he made us pay. He made us. He had his way there in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Stevie Mitchell, guard Braden. How disruptive of a defender is a guy like Stevie?
Yeah, he's a good defensive player, and obviously he's guarded Braden a couple times before, and Braden had success at our place. And Braden had some success when we played him in Hawaii also. But no, he's a good defensive player. I thought he was very active. I thought he did a good job. They switch some things. They do different things. So it's really all of them. When you look at Chase Ross and Cam and him and Joplin, it gets real interchangeable. I think that's what makes him tough at times, because now there's no weak sisters out there defensively, and they make it really hard for you to maneuver. But Braden's a good player. He didn't play well tonight, and he's got to do a better job. He's got to be a little bit more aggressive shooting the basketball. He's got to do a better job of setting the tone for us.
Marquette's ability to limit the ball getting into Trey, how much of that disrupted your offensive flow early, where it seemed like the pick and roll was taken away, you just couldn't get it downloaded?
Yeah, it was twofold. We missed him a couple times, to start with, and then he's got to do a good job of just kind of continue to work down there, and then just be a good passer when they take him away with a double team, or bring somebody ball side. But yeah, it took us a long time before we really got him into scoring positions. But I think it's maybe more than just the guy passing and the guy receiving it as a coaching staff. We got to be able to get the ball to him and be able to cause them to make a decision. If they never have to make a decision, and we don't get people in rotations, we're abusing that weapon that we have in him. And you see when we get those pocket passes and we get him on the move, he's got that good intermediate game. But that we never made it to where they were in danger. We had to get him reeling a little bit, and hats off to them, because they did a good job defending him, especially in the first half.
Y'all obviously faced Cam Jones before in previous years. Just what's the difference you see in him now as a player versus the last time you saw him?
Yeah, well, his usage is higher, right? Kolek was so good, but he had the ball in his hands, and rightfully so. So he has it more. I thought he was like a seasoned veteran tonight. He didn't kill us until you had to. You know what I mean? He just didn't come out and shoot pull-up 30-footers or take bad shots. Or we did a good job. We gave him a lot of attention, and the game just kind of went its way, right? And then all of a sudden, he just picked his spots at the right time, and he dominated the game in other areas. He got 13 rebounds as a point guard. He got 10 assists. But when he came here, he wasn't that. He came here as a shooter, and now he's a player, and he's really helping his cause. But hats off to him. That's what it's about. But they got a good program, and I think it's a good lesson for a lot of players out there to look what Marquette's done and look at their guys. All the guys that I mentioned, from Joplin to Stevie Mitchell to Chase Ross to him, stay at a program even if you're not the one or two options. Stay at a program even if you don't start, and just keep going, because now, like, look at that crowd you play in front of. Like look at the atmosphere that you have. Look at the success you have. You get a great education at Marquette, but you stay in battle through adversity, and you're a team. And that's cool, right? That's what it's about, man. You're a team. So Marquette's got something special, and now he's got to go and do something different for this team. And that's a lot what Tyler did for him, right? And now he's got to shoulder that responsibility. And sometimes we need 30 from him. Sometimes he's got to play make. Sometimes he gets to do it all like he did tonight. And it's what it's about. If you stay and fight through things, I'm a little biased. I just think you're gonna, at the end of the day, man, you're gonna be a better player, but you're also gonna learn a lot through adversity that's gonna help you down the road, not just in basketball.
Matt, your freshman guards have given you a big lift this season.
Yeah.
But 0 for 8 from the field today. Just what you see from their first road game regular season.
Yeah, we stuck CJ a couple times at the end of the clock. He had to be able to drive that basketball and create for other people, and he just kind of dribbled in circles and took tough ones. He got a couple good looks and just missed them. Jakari had some good looks. To start the game, he had a 3. To start the second half, he had a 3 that were good shots, and they just didn't go down. And it's part of it. It's part of the learning process. And there's other parts of the game too. But like I told our guys, like the shots that we missed that were open, like you got to be able to hit a good percentage of those, right? Because when you don't, you got to grind them out, and you got to be better on the defensive end. You got to be better taking care of the basketball. So when you don't shoot well, and now you're not as good defensively, especially down the stretch, and you're even more or less even on the rebounds, and they get 6 turnovers, you have 15. You're not going to win that game. You're just not. We had to have our turnovers equal to have a crack at it. And but I thought they did some good things. It's good to get out there and compete, and sometimes through success you can grow, and sometimes through failure you have to grow.
Coach, you played Alabama, now Marquette. You've got some more ranked teams coming up before you get into the Big Ten season.
Right.
How does playing a schedule that's pretty top heavy
Right.
get you ready for the Big Ten season
Yeah.
and hopefully
Yeah.
further?
I don't know what they do. Do they play Big East games in December too?
Yeah.
They do? They do, okay. So like for us, it's also like wanting to be prepared for those games. Like don't let those 2 games be your first like crack at it. Like we played at Creighton in an exhibition and they had a sellout. So like we went to Arkansas the year before. So I don't want this to be my first road game. I know it looked like it, but it wasn't. Officially it is, right? And so it just helps, right? It just, we've won 39, 38, 39, whatever, straight non-conference games. It's like pretty impressive. We guys also have the best player in college basketball for 2 years. And that helps also. And so when you look at like your schedule and what you're doing, like you got to get to that fight. Like today, they really highlighted some of our shortcomings, right? And you can look at that like it's a bad thing, but it's also a good thing, because drumming somebody by 30 at your place doesn't bring that out. And so now when we look at these games, like don't say like, okay, like let's get ready for Texas A&M, let's get ready for Auburn, let's get ready for Marshall in our next game. And so, because our first 3 games, like we weren't lights out. We played really well versus Alabama, but we weren't great before that. So like we're trying to find ourselves, trying to find some consistency. But it's what you want, because we throw in that mix at Penn State and Maryland too in December. And so like, you want to be able to get off to a good start in the league, but that's a little easier said than done. But I just believe if you've got a good enough team, you need to go out and get challenged, even if you got to take a couple on the chin and put yourself in a position. So once you get into the NCAA tournament, you've done everything in your power as a coach to help you. And we haven't been on the bubble in a while, but if we do get on the bubble, like I want to be in the good graces of the people making the selection. I want to get in there. And the people that don't get in there at the end, most of them, and this is high major schools only, because it's not fair sometimes to low to mid major people because it's tough to schedule, but high major people can go get other high major people. Like it's hard, but you can do it. So I want to make sure we keep doing that to help us grow, but also help us with the committee.
Brian's been in the back. That's good.
What's the biggest way you need your team to grow from failure here, you feel like?
Yeah, and just start by taking care of the basketball. And like one of the things that probably jumps out for us is just like, I don't think we're as good as Marquette defensively. So in practice, we don't see that. It doesn't mean we don't have athletic players, don't mean we don't have good players, but they have a more experienced defensive group. And so like we gotta grow in taking care of the basketball. And we've proven that we can do it. Tonight wasn't one of those nights, but we haven't proven that we can do it on the road. And so like I think that's kind of the goal for us, is to make sure that we take care of the basketball. Like I think that's what jumps out. The other thing that jumps out on the stat sheet is the fast break points they got and we didn't. So they get, you gotta steal points somewhere. They didn't get offensive rebounds, we didn't get offensive rebounds. They get in transition, they have 15 more points right there. So like you see the difference in the games around 20, So they're stealing points and we're not, but they're also turning us over, we're not turning them over. So I'd like to think that those turnovers led to that. So you can look at it twofold, right? It's our fault we turned it over, or they had good defense, probably a little bit of both.
Last one.
You scored 9 quick points coming out of halftime. Was there an adjustment or matchup you saw coming out of halftime you thought you could take advantage of Marquette on the offensive end?
Yeah, we just didn't get Trey Kaufman-Renn involved in the first half. And I think give them credit for like knocking him out in the post, not letting him get it, but we missed him a couple times. We didn't miss him a bunch in the first half, where we just had to do a better job with it. But we really wanted to get him established. We thought if we could get him established and really get him going, and they like would overdo some of that, and he's a good passer, we could open up some step in threes that way. So that's what we were really looking forward to doing. But I thought they did a good job in their ball screen defense. I thought I thought Braden had some decisions that he'd like to have back, but it wasn't a lot of them. But they forced him to get the ball out of their hands. And then with that, they're trying to force the other guys to make plays instead of him making plays. So, give them credit, but we just got to be able to make that adjustment and hopefully do a better job of establishing him going forward.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.